Good morning all. Could we please stand for the prayer? Ask Councillor Gleeson to lead us in our new BRC prayer.
Almighty God, we acknowledge that we have a responsibility to look after our creation, especially this region we call Barcaldine Regional Council. We are conscious that our decisions are going to affect deeply the people that we have come here to serve. Assist us to exercise respect for council staff, councillors, staff, and for people in our region. Help us in this meeting to act wisely, justly, and intelligently in all our deliberations. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege of both leading and serving, and assist us to do this well. Amen.
Amen.
Councillors, I'd like to observe a minute silence for the following former residents: Mr. Ian Scott of Barcaldine, Mr. Vince Corbin, formerly CEO of Aramac Shire Council, and Mrs. Edith Goodwin, formerly of Naranya, and Mrs. Jennifer Chandler, formerly of North Delta. Are there any others? Thank you. Thank you. I'll take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land upon which we meet, and their elders, both past, present and emerging. Councillors, declarations of prescribed conflict of interest. Councillor Peoples.
Oh, let me a good one, Mr.
Councillor Gleeson.
I don't believe so, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hanson.
3.3.3 in the Planning and Development Report, if a discussion does arise when that report comes in, I will describe conflict of interest.
Only due to the basis that you have a family member in that report.
Yeah. If there's a discussion arised over that, I will leave that around during that discussion.
Okay. Councillor Arthur.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Plum.
Mr. Mayor.
We were very close to no all the way around then, so it's could be the first time. Councillor, declarations of declarable conflicts of interest.
No, Mr. Mayor. No, Mr. Mayor.
3.8.2 is a declarable interest, and I will be leaving that around.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Plum.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to go with a declarable on 3.3.3 because my son was mentioned in that, and I'd like to ask the room if I could stay because it's only a report.
It's an information report.
Yeah.
Councillors, Councillor Plum is asked to remain in the room to receive the Planning and Development Report. Anybody have any? Councillor Gleeson, you're moving that is okay?
I'll move that it's okay for the council from to stay in the room to receive the report.
And anticipated discussions relating to that report. Councillor Peoples, did you second that?
No.
Is there any opposition? Those in favour? Carried 6-0. Councillor Rogers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I informed the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in 3.4.2. It's an ongoing project
As previously declared.
as previously declared because of my interest. The nature of the interest is a Lakedale Sculpture Trail. I would like to participate in receiving the report, however I acknowledge that eligible councillors may now determine pursuant to section 150 ES.
Unless councillors you intend to change your previous determination, Councillor Rogers has previously been extended the right to remain in the room. Is there a resolution to the contrary? There is not.
So I also inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in 3.5.1, the works report. The nature of my interest is the same, the Lake Dunsculpture Trail, and I would like to participate, and eligible councillors must now determine whether.
Councillors, is there a contrary resolution to the previous resolution allowing Councillor Rogers to remain? There is not.
So I inform the meeting that I've got a declarable conflict of interest in 3.7.1, information of Aramac information report. That's also due to my connection with the Lake Dunsculpture Trail.
Council?
Yeah.
Is there a contrary resolution? There is not.
And I also have a declarable conflict of interest in 3.9.1, Entity Engagement Officers Report, because I am going to be doing this. I'm mentioned in the report as a sculpture that's doing the sculptor that is doing the demonstration to the public.
I move that Councillor Rogers is allowed to remain in the room, receive the report and participate in discussion relating to the report. That is for agenda item 3.9.1. Is there a seconder? Councillor Peoples. Any opposition? Those in favour? 6-0. Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillors, possibly a fraction late for this, given Councillor Gleeson has already led us in his version of my amended prayer. I noted there was a couple of changes there as it went through, but I'll talk to him later about our creation and God's creation and the difference between the two. But I'll move this, please, that the amended prayer be accepted. I've amended the prayer. It is not an everyday occurrence. I think it's important that as part of the openings to our meetings that we recognise the Christian basis for our democracy, but also the traditional ownership. And I think the amended prayer better reflects the ability for both staff and councillors to lead us in prayer. There are only nuances to changes. However, I think that they are particularly relevant in a changed environment that we lead. I think it's a sobering way to start our meetings, and whether it's a Christian right to believe in what the words are that we say or just simply to actually understand what they mean, I think either way it is maintained as a relevant opening to our council meetings even in 2022. So I'm happy to move that amended prayer be accepted as our standard prayer moving forward. Councillor Gleeson.
Mr. Mayor, as I read it, I would like to second it.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Especially considering it's your creation, apparently. Is there any opposition or suggested amendments to that prayer? There is not. Those in favour? 7-0. Confirmation of minutes.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mayor, just through you, Councillor Hanson's declarable conflict of interest, isn't that actually prescribed?
Sorry, I did not ask for councillors present. Sorry, does it? So we'll deal with that first. Yes.
I know he's offered to leave the room, but because it's to do with buying council land and the decisions.
Probably technically fits as a prescribed because it's to deal with your immediate
Just to
family.
make
So
sure
yes, that probably should fit under a PCOI. Does any councillor present believe any other councillor present may have overlooked a PCOI or DCOI? Thank you for that, councillor. I mean, it's semantical because you are, but
Yeah,
I believe it is I think you're correct. Technically, it would be a prescribed. Confirmation of minutes. Can I please have a mover to receive the minutes of the 27 April general meeting? Councillor Plum, Councillor Peoples seconds. Vote in favour, 7-0. Are there any errors, omissions or alterations required? Can I have a mover that they be confirmed? Councillor Peoples, Councillor Arthur seconds. Those in favour? 7-0. Do any officers or councillors present have a petition? There are none. Reports. Councillors, on top of what is noted there, during the federal election campaign, I had a number of meetings with campaign spokespersons for both sides. I think it's probably normal for that to occur, but they were phone call meetings. One was a Zoom, so it hasn't. I didn't, in compiling this report last week, I didn't actually enter them in. The majority of those were with Senator Murray Watt, the Labor spokesperson for Northern Australia, and Senator Simon Birmingham, the campaign manager or chair spokesperson for the Conservatives. So just probably need to add that in there. And also want to give a big shout out to Angela and all of the people of Muttaburra for the very successful airing of the Today Show. There was a massive turnout locally to support that, which is integral to having future events like that. Brett and Angela went across and were there from way too early in the morning for most people to even care about, and it was really, really well attended. Brett, I think you'll agree. And it was just so positive and happy, and school children running around everywhere, and people drove in from a number of cattle stations around quite substantial distances to support that. Some of them appeared on the program, but others just were there as supporting talent. It was a fantastic day. I think it really underscores how we as a council view every town in our community to be important. It would have been very easy for that event just to occur underneath the tree of knowledge, but we shared that around, and one can only hope that it ends up being quite positive in getting the Muttaburrasaurus across the line as the fossil emblem of Queensland. But it was really well done. Angela went out of her way to organise that and lined up all of the speakers, all of the different interview segments from as I say, 5:30 in the morning right through till I completed the last one at 8:30, and it was really well done, really relevant and on point. Can I have somebody move that my report be received, please? Sorry. Councillor Gleeson, Councillor Plum, those in favour, 7-0. Any comments? You'll note the upward correspondence. Those who were not part of the disaster management meetings during the most recent declared weather event, QFES organised for 2 volunteers to be based in Alpha as part of their pre-positioning and event preparedness. They undertook while they were there a number of routine in inverted commas jobs, but obviously things that volunteers locally don't always have the capacity to do. They volunteered out of their own community. They're from Brisbane. They did a really fantastic job in helping bring some equipment up to, in doing some checks on equipment and bringing that up to speed. So I have sent a letter of thanks to them. However, I know they're only words. The SES is amazing. We saw that recently at the Weir, undertaking pretty challenging work here. They're an amazing organisation, and the people who participate in that, obviously in this case, have travelled a long way from home. Thankfully they weren't required in their capacity that they were pre-deployed for, but I was very grateful that QFES are starting to also reach out to these smaller, more remote communities with assistance where the number of volunteers on the ground may be flagging slightly. So Patrick Downing and others within QFES, not only the volunteers need a big pat on the back for that.
Mr Mayor, it was well received as well with those two people coming out of Brisbane, the flood bait operators, and also for Oasis. I believe they flew 2 out there as well on standby.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Damien. Right, 322. Given this matter does deal with a matter relating to an employment situation, councillors, I think just out of proprietary reasons, we probably a resolution to close the meeting to allow any councillor present to discuss anything would be in order. Councillor Plum, you're closing the meeting under section 254J, I think it is B. I'll check that for the minutes though. Councillor Gleeson seconds that. Those in favour? Motion is carried. We're going to closed session.
Oh Lord. Thank you. Happy birthday, Paula. Take the jacket off now.
Yeah, no, it's
certainly look. Yeah.
Councillors, for the minutes, I believe this resolution probably needs the recommendations to be brought forward to the motion. So items 1 through 7. Debbie?
And I haven't got the there on the thing, but yeah.
That's fine.
I'll update it, yep.
Are there any amendments on the record to resolutions 1 through 7? Recommendations 1 through 7. They will come forward as they are presented to go into the minutes, but they're obviously not going to appear on the screen in front of you here now. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Peoples moves that we receive the report and adopt the recommendations as are presented within that report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Arthur.
Can I just go back and you need to open?
Oh, sorry.
We were outside when we, so
sorry,
who did that?
Councillor Peoples and Councillor Arthur.
Peoples and Arthur opened?
That's correct.
And through you, Mr Mayor, did you want to clarify the clause for closing the meeting?
254.
It's 254J 3A, not B.
And sorry then, who was moved and seconded?
Peoples and Arthur moved this resolution as well.
As well.
Any debate on the resolution? I call the vote. Those in favour? Opposed? Resolution is carried 6-1. Councillor Rogers has requested that her name be recorded in the negative. I now move to the agenda item 3.31, the Acting CEO Information Report. Brett's report is in your agenda. I'll ask you to talk to anything there, Brett, that may be relevant or you may wish to expand upon.
Mr Mayor, I'll just expand upon the enterprise bargaining. So we've completed the negotiations. The unions had meetings with the workforce yesterday and given in principle agreement. So I'd just like to publicly thank the 5 unions involved. So Chris McJanet from the TSU, Chris Brodsky from the CFMEU, Larry Burney from the AWU, Glenn Sam, AMWU, and Stephen Humdell from the TWU. Plus all the staff members who participated in the negotiations. So we've got a 4-year agreement that, which I believe gives a fair wage increase. So that agreement will now go to the vote of all employees, and that agreement will apply from the 1st of July this year.
Although certifying it will take, it'll be a back.
Yeah, so it will result in a back pay because it takes a number of months for the Industrial Relations Commission to approve the agreement, so there will be a back pay. So also just publicly put on record that the budget was handed to councillors yesterday. As per the Local Government Act, that there's 14 days prior notice to the adoption of the budget, and that so that will be adopted on the 14th of June. The new planning scheme has gone to state interest review. So I think the last time we spoke there was the matter of the heritage, some objections to the local heritage register. So those organised, so we did remove a couple of properties from that that local heritage register based on their objections. So that goes to the state. It'll come now back to us for public consultation, and during that process it's still open to objections on any aspect of the planning scheme. The tenders for the SCADA and telemetry and which also involves the Alpha and Jericho water treatment plants have closed. So hopefully we'll have a recommendation at the meeting on the 14th to award that tender, which will expend our loan funds that the monies we've borrowed for that project. The Mayor's highlight today showing Muddabara. I think it was a great effort by the whole community. Between Angela and Kerry, they made sure that there was a great variety of activities that were broadcast. I'd also just mention the Artie Beetson Foundation Rugby League. That was very well organised event, and I think they really appreciated our facilities.
And whilst I'll give a shout out to another staff member, not acting in her capacity as an employee of BRC, but as Secretary of Central West Rugby League and a passionate advocate for rugby league, to Charmaine for the work that she did, and not only the work she did in organising the event, but went out of her way to include council in all manner of events. Invited both Brett, myself, and Jenny to the opening night, and did a fantastic job, and was very keen to make sure that the council received credit for its assistance over the weekend in providing that venue. So, yeah, well done. As I say, not as a council employee, but is one anyway, and credit to her. Questions, councillors? Councillor Poison.
Through Mr. Mayor, there are two questions. The organisation structure. there's further meetings to be held with that, can we ask? Can I say there are further meetings to be held with that, or is it, in your opinion, it's proceeding the way that you would like it to be?
Mr. Mayor, there was substantial feedback from employees on the structure, so that feedback now has to be considered, and so it would, there's still substantial amount of work to be done based on that feedback, and definitely more meetings required with staff.
My second question, actually, Mr. Mayor, is a question regarding the plumbers. We've only one registered plumber on the Shire at the present time. Obviously, can you enlighten us to the discussions there? Has there been more plumbers, sort of apprenticeships or something in the pipeline, you feel?
So we had a meeting, Mr. Mayor, the Director of Works, myself, and the plumber and HR officer had a high-level meeting about what direction we need to take. Once again, that needs further discussion. We did, as you're aware, I created a new position in Aramac, Town Supervisor, which that position will supervise plumbing. It doesn't mean that person's a plumber, but there will be someone responsible for plumbing in Aramac, just the same as they're responsible for plumbing in Muttaburra. And also in Alpha, so the town supervisor looks after water and sewage. But yeah, that's an ongoing discussion internally.
Again.
Further questions for Brett? Councillor Plum.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Brett, how are we travelling with JJ Richards? Everything going to plan, or?
Mr. Mayor, probably get Chris to answer that one because he's been negotiating with them.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I've been speaking with JJ Richards for, in terms of time, probably the last 3 weeks, which has involved 3 separate meetings. So the point of contact, the contract administrator from JJ's end, I'll be meeting with again today. So he's stepping through the process of going through and conducting bin audits, so bin lift audits, determining how many numbers they've actually agreed to in the contract. And out of that, some of the talking that we did yesterday around condition of bins and the assessment of the condition of bins, they're also looking at as well. So we're going to continue to work through with those guys. The planned kick-off date is still Friday the 1st of July. And I received notification yesterday that we'll be passing through to council for notification of change of service dates. They've also been very helpful more broadly with advice on our environmental assessment and how we might be able to improve services around our landfills. At no cost at this stage, this has been nothing but good advice, and as I was saying to the Mayor this morning, I genuinely feel that these guys are very invested in terms of getting this contract off on the right foot, and personally, I've not had a better engagement with a contractor leading up to the commencement of that sort of engagement, so it's been very positive.
And any talk of having a driver here or bringing?
Yes, so I believe they've advertised locally for a driver. I'll get an update from JJ today as to how they're going with that. But there's certainly been a discussion, but I haven't received any final feedback on where they've got to with it.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Brett?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the March statistics for HR, 4 resignations, 2 positions advertised and 2 recruited. they are not the same 4 positions, as in we lost 4 this month. But the advertised and the recruited ones, are they the same 4, or is there a bit of an overlap and a bit of a separation?
There's overlap, so I think
And-
there was 4 last
Yeah.
month.
And part B to that is, do we have an idea of how many vacancies that we have across the, like, ideal positions that we have vacant or unfilled, or are we relatively happy that
There's certainly ongoing vacancies for plant operators and labourers.
yeah, I do see some advertisements, yeah.
So, as you would have seen, there's been an ad for labourers, just a general
Yeah.
across the board ad. Anyone interested in working for council. Because there's always vacancies. And the main issue with plant operators is in Alpha. We don't seem to be able to attract plant operators to the Alpha depot. We get 0 applications. Generally, that's where the vacancies are.
Mr Mayor, I was also going to say that there's, and that's going through all the employment agencies that are around as well. It's going in a fair way to, it's just very hard to actually get any responses.
I don't think we're alone in that
No, it's
situation.
No further questions.
No, Mr Mayor.
332, can I have some?
Excuse me, Mr Mayor,
Oh.
we just need someone
Can I have
to.
somebody move that we receive Brett's report? Councillor Gleeson, seconded Councillor Plum, those in favour, 7-0. Can I have somebody move that we receive the councillor information correspondence, please? Councillor Peoples, seconded. Councillor Hanson, those in favour, 7-0. Planning and Development Report. Can I have somebody move that we receive that report, please? Councillor Peoples, seconder. Councillor Arthur, those in favour. 7-0. Is there questions or comments? Brett, do you have anything from that report?
Mr Mayor, just you will see that the development application for the Breeze has been lodged.
Councillors, questions, comments? 334, can I have somebody move that the Economic Development Report be received, please? Councillor Plum, seconded. Councillor Arthur, those in favour? 7-0. Brett?
Mr Mayor, we obviously had the visioning session yesterday. In terms of the truck stop development, we have received a letter from that developer. It's a very general letter, wishing to purchase land from council on the southern side of Barcaldine.
That's the first real development in that particular prospective enterprise in some time.
Yes.
335, can I have somebody move that we receive the WHS report? Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Plum, those in favour? 7-0. Questions?
Mr Mayor. Is it really necessary that, it's necessary to report an accident, but is it really necessary to report a near miss? Just total waste of time. These near misses.
I'll allow the CEO to expand upon this answer. I'd suggest to you that if the near miss can improve the workplace practices or inform learned behaviour, then it wouldn't be a total waste of time. But I'll allow the CEO to.
Yeah, so, yeah, Mr Mayor, that's exactly right, that like a near miss could have been a hit or an accident and could have resulted in either damage to property or death or injury to a person, so it's very important that we do record those. Because the next time it won't be a near miss, it will be an actual accident. And usually a near miss means something's gone wrong, someone hasn't followed proper procedure. So it is important that we record those.
Further questions? Community grants policy. Councillors, I won't move to formal resolution. Discussion. Brett, you got anything other than obviously highlighted amendments to this policy as it currently
Mr Mayor,
sits?
this was presented to the April meeting. There were comments made at that meeting, which subsequently made changes relating or in response to those comments. They're highlighted in yellow.
Right, comments.
Just, sorry, Mr Mayor, just to clarify, so this would take effect, say, 1st July? If
it takes effect whenever council wishes
Yeah.
to take effect. So, but yes, I would suggest 1st of July. Yeah, that's the new budget period.
Councillors, may I suggest an amendment to the resolution then, that council adopts the amended community grants policy with effect 1 July 2022. All agrees? Thank you. Do I have a mover for the resolution? Councillor Plum, seconder. Councillor Hanson, formal debate. Anyone who wishes to speak against? There being none, those in favour? 7-0. 337. Third quarter review for the annual operation plan. Brett.
Mr Mayor, that's this is the third quarter review, giving an update on the activities to date, year to date, in accordance with our annual operation or plan. Let's take it as read or open to any questions.
Councillors, questions please. There being none, can I have somebody move that we receive the report? Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Hanson, those in favour? Carried. 338, can I have somebody please move that we receive the audit committee meeting minutes? Councillor Plum moves, seconded. Councillor Rogers, those in favour? Carried. Councillor Plum, Mr Chair, is there anything you'd like to draw to our attention in those minutes?
Not really, just that they were here last week, the auditors, and I think everything went well, and that possibly on track with everything. I don't think we have really anything there that's over and above concern.
Brett, anything from you?
Mr Mayor, the coincident that we received a letter from the Auditor General today, from the Director General about the Auditor's reports generally. So they have, coming out of this audit, is that the Audit Office is now requiring that our monthly reports include all accrual entries. So generally we just do them periodically. They want those done monthly, so that your monthly financial statements are basically the same format as the end of year statement, so that requires an amount of extra work to be done each month to achieve that. So the big item for council is getting those asset registers up to date and approved by the 30th of June. So that is a major milestone that we are required to achieve as part of the audit plan.
Questions regarding that or any other item raised in the minutes of the Audit Committee meeting?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Brett, do you think it's achievable? Or can it be done?
The asset plan as well. We're working on it, but it will be difficult to achieve that.
No further questions. 339, councillors, I don't see the need to close the meeting unless you choose to. However, I do point you in the background information, paragraph 5, regarding confidentiality of the buyer, and hence the resolution drafted the way it is. So in your comments about this resolution, can you please respect that process? Should you choose to discuss the buyer's identity, I will gladly close the meeting on the basis of its ability to affect a commercial discussion. But more broadly, I'm happy to leave the meeting in open session. Councillor Peoples.
I'll move the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Really?
Recommend that.
It's good I hadn't called for a mover, but now that you've done so, I'm obligated to record your name. Is there a seconder? Councillor Hanson. Discussion? Those in favour? 7-0. I'm sure there are people in state parliament who'd love to be able to undertake asset sales with such ease. 3310. I also actually see no reason to close the discussion of this. I think it would be more appropriate for any discussion relating to this unit trust to occur in open meeting. Is there discussion on this before we move to the formal resolution? Extensive material has been provided to you on this over a number of separate workshops, but obviously are all now in the public domain as well. Excuse me.
Mr. Mayor, just did you want to update with Rapids involved?
Yeah, so there's two elements here that I want to update. Point B is simply we are required by law to seek the Treasurer's approval. So that will occur in due course should you resolve today to enter into that. Obviously it's a little chicken and egg scenario. There's no point seeking the Minister's approval, the Treasurer's approval, unless you are of a mind to enter into it. But we can't formally enter into it until we have that. So I think most appropriate, of course, is that the acting CEO has undertaken today, and that's to present it to you. We formally resolve to go into that before my signature is attached or the CEO's signature is attached to that documentation, we seek the Minister's approval. As with respect to Rapid, Rapid had indicated several months ago their intention to support the business venture to the tune of $100,000. That was reaffirmed at the board meeting in Longridge on Wednesday. They will be, so therefore, at its inception, this unit trust will have 2,100,000 units, 1 million of which will be ours, 1 million of which will be Sunshots, and 100,000 of which will be Rapids. They have no powers to appoint board members or have representation. They are literally a silent partner in this silent supporter in this project. But it is important to understand that there are three of us. We are the preferential unit holders, and then there are the ordinary shareholder, which is Sunshot, and then there is the Rapid investment of 100,000. Correct. Questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a statement. Do we want Rapid to be part of this?
For the sake of $100,000 and no real voting power or control, I'd take the 100,000. Understand the implied comment there about that, but I'm agnostic as to their involvement. I'm ambivalent, sorry, agnostic is not the right word, I'm ambivalent to that. I think, broadly speaking, their role as a board to promote development in the region, this investment fits their charter. In fact, I think there were elements more broadly several months ago that fit their charter to be the lead shareholders in this, or unit holders. However, for various reasons, the directors of Rapid chose not to support that position. But their willingness to continue to invest $100,000 into this, I think, needs to be accepted and respected.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just as a past player in Rapid, I was disappointed in their previous decision not to support us, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with being part of it now. But anyway, I'll go with it.
Thank you. Any further questions? Do I have a mover? I'll move. Please do. Seconder? Councillor Arthur. Mate? Those in favour? 7-0. 3-3-11. Councillors, given that this obviously was put up, this resolution now is relevant. It may not have been should we have chosen not to. As part of our contribution financially, we're also entitled to 2 directors out of the 4. I undertook a period of consideration and discussion with the CEO. 2 names that you see here in front of you, I believe, are meritorious appointments to that board, not simply because they're residents of the Barcaldine Regional Council, but on the basis of their business experience, their involvement with local government, and the fact that they are residents of the Barcaldine Regional Council as well, means that they are first-class appointments to that board. The trustee company probably needs to change that resolution to, is that right? Right, that'll be directors. Okay, right, so I want to see people who will represent, obviously, pre-conflict of interest type legislation. A good appointment may have been a councillor to this board. Now, for obvious reasons, we can't do that now. But these 2 individuals have got an extensive history in both local government and business development in regional Queensland, and specifically inside the Barcaldine Regional Council. So I see it very meritorious appointment with Councillor Peoples.
I'll move that, Mr Mayor. I think you're,
You've been very preemptive today of me calling for movers of resolutions, Councillor Beckles, but yes.
I think you're lobbying for us to find a couple of directors. I don't think you can find two better men than those two fellows up there, so I'm totally in support of that.
Thank you, Councillor Beckles. Is there a second? Councillor Plum, debate. Councillor Arthur.
No, I was putting my hand up to second.
Councillor Gleeson.
Mr Mayor, is there a time factor to that? I'm 100% in favour of the gentleman, but is there a time factor to the directors has a 1 year contract, 2 years, 10 years?
Until we see fit to replace them. Or they see.
Or they see
Or
fit
they
to
can back
positions
out,
there.
Correct.
or we can replace.
That's right. So they are independent directors appointed by us. There's no, they haven't yet developed the governance that outlines the tenure of directors. That will be obviously implementing the governance of the BRES is probably the chief responsibility of the inaugural directors. What governance arrangements are going to be put in place, what things like tenure of directors, ability to direct, all that sort of stuff. It's starting from zero and working their way up.
Another question, Mr Mayor, those two gentlemen will feed back to our general meetings through the CEO, through the Mayor.
Through some of them, yeah. So their reporting mechanism to shareholders, all of those things are the technical elements that they have to develop. But yes, they serve at our pleasure, so to speak.
There would be an annual general meeting every year, at which point
We could replace them should we. Councillor Hanson.
Just through you, Mr Mayor, is that a voluntary position or a paid position?
At this stage, it's voluntary. Whilst the BRES understands its governance, understands the finances of moving forward, they may develop a remuneration scale for their directors. But in terms of are we, as the Barcaldine Regional Council, paying our two directors? No, we are not. They will receive from, as part of their process, should they incur out-of-pocket expenses to travel, for example, I'm quite confident that there will be discussions around recovering those costs, but at this stage they are not paid by us directly as BRC, but there will have to be, once again, part of that governance conversation, they have a discussion around directors' remuneration from within the BRES, so therefore as a shareholder of the BRES, there may be indirect remuneration to the directors, but it won't be as in, are they on the books from the BRC? No. And at the point in time that they develop that remuneration scale, I'll be very quick to inform Council as to what is being undertaken in that respect. Probably confidentially though, because that may not be necessarily a public-facing document within the press. Any further debate? There being none, I'll put the vote. Those in favour, 7-0, 3, 4, 1. Some. Just the early phone call today. Not often you're in the room before smoke, eh? You've done, either we've done well or... Luckily you're only just here now, you don't have to run across the street. Can I have somebody please move that we receive the financial report? Councillor Gleeson, seconded. Councillor Plum, those in favour? Is that in favour or against?
No, I'm in favour.
That's good. You're very late there. You're quick to move things, but very late to vote on. 7-0. So, Matt, anything to point out? Whilst you're looking, there appears to be a slight upward tick and a bit of a trend appearing in our sustainability graph. That 3 months is, we were sat on 2 through the back end of the first and the early part of the second quarter. that we have slightly ticked up. There was a bit of a blip, but we've averaged 3 now for the last 4 months, 5 months, and for that matter, we're average 3 for the year. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's due to that fact received in advance. Seems like we are achieving that 3-month sustainability. But on the other hand, the flood damage money has all been spent now.
Right. Well, or is there still about 3 million left of the 1920 event?
It's all spent, Mr. Mayor, the flood damage.
Okay. Just looking at the graph on page 130.
Well, yeah. So it's due to the division that provided us in 2 phases for 19 and 20, but collectively it's all been spent.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Councillors, questions for Simon, please.
Mr. Mayor, just with the rates arrears, we're still waiting on the department to transfer that land to council, which would eliminate those long outstanding rates debts.
That's the 17 that are more than 5 years. Or most of that would be then. Or is it
No, it'll be the 5 and the 5 plus years.
5, did you say?
Plus the 5
5
plus.
and 5 plus.
Yeah.
No further questions? Project progress report. Can I have somebody move that we receive that report, please? Councillor Hanson, seconded. Councillor Plum. Is in favour? 7-0. Questions? Councillors? Is it absolutely incredible? We have a gallery for the first time ever, and not one of you speak. Like,
That's why.
that's incredible.
That's why.
Nothing. No comments, no questions.
Mr. Mayor, I will ask.
Thank you, councillor, please.
I'll have to ask the question. Marabara Pool is $16,000
Over budget.
over budget. What is,
It's not really, Mr. Mayor. It's because it was over 2 years funding. It appears like that this year, but it's actually last year's money that was used.
We received two grants, and it was over 2 years, so there's more expenditure in this year, but the overall project is within its budget.
So, mate, have you got anything you'd like to raise since you've walked so far for this meeting? You've done it all as part of your budget workshop. You're just too good at your job. 343, Community Care Services Report. Can I have somebody move that we receive that report? Moved Councillor Peoples, seconded Councillor Rogers. Those in favour? 7-0. Yes, 7-0. So, Ahmed, anything of relevance here? Or of note? Sorry, I should say it's all relevant. Councillor Plum, would you like to share with the Chamber your observations that you're quietly sharing with Councillor Arthur?
Mr Mayor, I think we're going to be finished the meeting by Sligo. I'm just and Mr Arthur involved.
You just jinxed us.
There's not any chance of that happening now. I was hoping no one would say it, but yes.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I did say that I was happy to pull the handbrake and slow up proceedings if need be.
There is no one better at doing it, Councillor Arthur. CCS. Questions, please. Or comments, I mean.
Well, community services, it's showing a profit at the end of the year, which will have effect of the administrative overheads and all that stuff, but it looks, yeah, it's still in positive, and the only area that is home assist secure, like we haven't been capturing all that, like it hasn't been expanded for a couple of years now, so that's where we might have to pay back the unexpanded credit, which we'll know by July when we do the acquittal. So I'll bring that to the council, that how much it is over the years.
Will it be July or will we know by the middle of June? Will we be closer to knowing? No, not really, not till the financial year's finished.
Well, the financial, I can't remember off my head, but it's May, I think it's July when we do the acquittals for that, or August, so.
Okay.
That would be an area where we have, because it keeps on adding each year and then expanded.
So what they allow us to roll over any surplus to the following year, but then I don't know, Jenny, is it every 2 years, every 3 years, that they send us a letter saying you've got too much surplus, you need to pay it back. So that's what we're expecting.
Any further questions?
Through you, Mr Mayor, is that not a service delivery gap, but just take up of the scheme? I would assume there's potential participants there that are not taking, not what they're owed, but what they're eligible to use. Is that part of it?
Part of it is
like the rollover.
The number of participants is reduced.
Yeah.
So as people often pass away or move away, they're not being replaced, and people are happy to spend their own money doing renovations to their home. Also, the rules are so strict about how much you can claim each year. So, as an individual, you're only allocated a small amount. So once you've spent that, you're no longer eligible. So that we just don't have the numbers to
the population in that demographic to access some of them. Okay.
The same with the Home Mods program. It was, well, it still is 50% subsidy, but the government brought in a $10,000 cap.
Yeah, right.
So whereas we could, someone could have a home modification for $50,000, we'd pay $25,000. The government's now saying we can only pay a maximum of $10,000. And we receive over $300,000 a year for that. So that means we'd have to do 30 home mod jobs a year to spend all the money, which there just isn't 30
and in that space, the $10,000 or $20,000 doesn't go a long way, not,
And that,
especially more recently with increased
so,
material costs and
you know, a lot of it is to do with the bathroom.
Yeah, it's quite
You can't,
expensive.
you can't get a bathroom for $20,000. So then, you know, the clients are hesitant to use the service then because it's so expensive.
Yeah, the reason why I brought up this, Mr. Mayor, was because looking at the bottom line on projected annual is 120 profit we're looking at, but we have to keep in mind that we have unexpended funds to pay back down the road. And maybe next year or the year after, so.
Thank you.
Councillor Peters.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask, when do you go back to Pakistan? Next month? Are you going to be at the next meeting?
Yeah, just after the next.
Just after next meeting? All right, I'll wait till then.
You haven't waited for anything all day other than voting, so I don't know why you're bothering.
Sounds very ominous, Mr. Mayor.
You can think,
Leave us all in
you can think
suspense.
about it a little bit.
Leave us all in suspense, guys. Okay. Well, some that I don't know. I can't. Councillor Arthur's even tried to drag stuff out here for as long as he can, and nobody else is even going to come up with a question. So thank you very much. The works report. 351. Can I have somebody move that we receive Chris's report? Councillor Peters. Marvel. Councillor Plum. Seconds. Those in favour? 7-0. Chris? Anything you'd like to?
Nothing other than as tabled. There will be a bit of stuff we're waiting on, but we won't receive some of the information that I'll be able to update on until next report, which is only a week and a bit away.
Thank you. Questions? (3.6.1). Can I have somebody move Damien's report be received, please? Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Peoples. Those in favour? Carried. Damien?
Mr. Mayor, we've actually had the dip yards in Alpha, the air raid has gone in there, has been completed, it's working well. Also, I've had meetings just recently with the NBN project that will be going on in the community of Alpha, starting later on in the year. I think it's about 3 to 5 months of construction work that will go on. And that's all I've got here at the moment.
Thank you. Questions for Damien?
I'd just like to thank, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank Damien for his behalf, for his part of doing the aerator in the dip at Alpha. I've been pushing for that for a while, and I got a phone call the other day to say that it was working perfectly. I think it's great. It's very good.
Three, 6, 2. Damien? As read, as presented?
As presented, yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Councillors?
Is everyone happy, Mr. Mayor? Damien, is everyone happy with the lesson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, yeah.
The question for those who might be listening at home, because I couldn't hear Councillor Plum that well, was everybody happy with the code?
Everyone's happy with that.
And the answer was yes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Gleeson. Debate? Councillor Gleeson first, then Arthur.
I'll move it.
You seconded it? Sorry. Were you putting your hand up to vote?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Councillor Arthur.
Just with terms of the lease, with the extension, was it in favour of the lessee or